Today we're talking about the Brooks Levitate 3. So overall this is supposed to be an everyday road trainer, not necessarily meant for trail, although it's fine on trail. We'll get more to that later. And a few specs to start us off. This is an 11.5 ounce shoe, and that's in my size. So it's a little heavy, and if you're a big guy, you're probably looking at a 12 ounce shoe, maybe even a little more. I guess if you're a petite member of the fairer sex, it might be around 11 ounces, but either way, it's a little hefty, but it doesn't feel like that. Again, we'll get to that later. It's got an 8mm drop, so kind of an average drop. It's not high drop, it's not low drop, it's right in the middle there. It's got a knit upper, which I like a lot. It's kind of hard to see since it's all black. So first, let's talk about the fit. Overall, the fit is great. There's no part of this shoe that feels too snug, too tight, or too loose. There's no part that feels sloppy. There's just one little quirk. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my feet, but somewhere in the heel area, underneath and on the outside, it feels like there's it almost feels like there's a rock in your shoe. I mean, not exactly. It just feels like there's a little spot where it's kind of nudging your feet when you first put them on. The funny thing is, once you start running, within minutes, by the time you even get across the street, you don't notice anymore. I don't know if you should really even dock any points for that, because when you're running, the fit is fine. You don't notice that at all. But overall, part of the reason the fit is so great is because of the upper. The knit upper has a little bit of stretch and a little bit of give to it. So when you slide your feet in, it almost conforms to your shape. So that sock-like fit is a big feature of this one. Even the shoelaces are the type of shoelaces that have just a little bit of give. So when you tie them down, you're not worried that you're gonna lock them too tight and cut off circulation. You can go ahead and cinch them down good and snug, and it'll just give you a great fit throughout your entire run. You can go for hours in these, and they don't get too loose. They just feel great, start to finish, all over the place. Love the fit. Even the heel counter, it's kind of got that claw-like shape that can sometimes bother your Achilles. When it kind of digs in there. Some of us who have had Achilles tendonitis may look at that shape and balk and go, no, I want the ones with the flat backs. But it's not an issue because it's flexible. So even though it's kind of doing this thing, when you put the shoes on, it doesn't matter. It really, just like the rest of the shoe, it's got some stretch so it conforms to the shape of your foot. It doesn't dig into your Achilles and cause any irritation at all. Fantastic. So your heel is really locked down without any unwanted pressure on your Achilles. The only thing I would complain about, aside from that kind of strange fit on the outside, which again doesn't really matter once you get going, so hard to complain too much about it. The heel comes up pretty high, and it's got that kind of claw-like shape, which wouldn't be such an issue. But again, it's kind of hard to see because it's all black. But there's a really hard seam right there, which isn't finished. It isn't smoothed over. It's like the inside of a t-shirt is right there on the heel, which really aggressively goes up against your heel. So if you wear low socks, this thing could be rubbing. And it's a really strong edge, so if you blister easily, this just might give you blisters. Now, if your socks are high enough, it's not an issue. But you probably don't want to wear no-show socks with these just because of that. It almost feels like they didn't finish making this shoe. Like this is some kind of prototype, and it was kind of, oh, we'll get that fixed later before these ship. And then they just forgot to do it. It's just surprising that there would be such an unfinished seam right there, right in a place that touches your skin. So kind of a minus for that one. Again, as long as your socks are high enough, it's not such an issue. Or if your run isn't very long, it might not be an issue. Or if you just don't blister easy, it might not be an issue at all in the first place. But that's a thing that should be fixed. There's not a good reason to keep it that way. Overall, the fit though, I give it, I'll say an A- just for that. Now the upper, again, is nice and stretchy, and it's a knit upper, and it's very, very breathable. It's one of the most breathable shoes I've ever worn, and because I live in a warm, humid area, I absolutely love that. You might be able to tell this area right here in the toes is particularly open. So you can, depending on what socks you're wearing, you might even feel a breeze going through this. I only wish they had gotten that kind of open weave going all the way down the shoe. It's probably durability reasons that they couldn't pull that off. Even the tongue has a lot of that open weave. Down the sides, it's more, more of a tight knit. You don't see too much overlays. You do get the Brooks logo as kind of a half overlay. I don't believe this is really providing any structural support. It'd be great if they had done that some other way, because these overlays, they're made of plastic. They don't breathe. So all this does is add some weight and take away breathability. If you're gonna put an overlay on it, at least make it, hit something else and provide structure, or just make it, a color, a different color like fabric with the stitching, so it doesn't weigh anymore, it doesn't take away from breathability, or make it reflective so it provides a safety benefit. But no, that didn't happen. Towards the back, you've got more of a rigid heel cup kind of down low, and that just provides good support. Pull tab on the back I just find unnecessary, and again, why not make it reflective? I don't know. But overall, the upper is great. It's got, again, a really stretchiness to it, which gives you a great fit. So the upper is fantastic. The outsole, you can kind of tell they used a lot of rubber, at least compared to a lot of more modern shoes. That's probably contributing a lot to the weight. More and more you see road shoes with exposed foam, but this one, no, not really. It's pretty much all rubber. For that reason, it's incredibly durable. These shoes have 250K on them, so about 150 miles. If you look closely, I mean, you can tell that they've been used because they're dirty, but if you look really closely, I mean, even the little mini tread is still there, even in the high wear areas, like the balls of the feet and the inside of the toe and all that. It looks like someone has gone for like a run in these, not run for a few weeks in these. So these shoes are really gonna last. The choice to use rubber, I gotta say, it was a good choice for this shoe, because this is an everyday trainer. These are meant to be abused, and you want a shoe that's gonna, you're gonna get your money's worth and be able to put in miles upon miles. Also, the tread works really well on multiple surfaces. It works great on all kinds of pavement, and also works really well on trails. And I think that has a lot to do with this rubber. It just provides a good grip. Something about this tread pattern works pretty well, because the gravel can find its way. The uneven terrain, the gravel, the rocks and everything can kind of snugly fit somewhere in there, in between all this stuff. And it doesn't pick up rocks from gravel like some other shoes do at all. I've never had to pick anything out of these, which is nice. Brooks says that this arrow pattern makes you run faster. I don't know about that, but I can confirm that they just feel great. They run smooth on pavement, and they handle any trail I've run on. They handle pretty well, whether that's loose gravel, hard pack, wood chips, dirt, rocky trails. I've run in basically everything except deep mud, and these have handled it just fine. Now, it's not as good as a dedicated trail shoe, but as far as door-to-trail shoes goes, this is one of the best door-to-trail shoes I've ever worn, and it's not even a trail shoe. So I love the grip on these shoes. They're fantastic. Overall, the ride, speaking of running on different surfaces, the ride is great. It feels soft enough, even hard surfaces like rocks or pavement. You don't really notice them. You can go for hours in these. No foot pain, no knee pain, no nothing. And they still feel soft even after hours, but not too soft. It doesn't have that running in sand feel you get from shoes that are too cushioned. And I think that has a lot to do with this, the DNA Amp midsole that you find on most Brooks shoes these days. I remember when the first Levitate came out, and it was, I believe, the first shoe that featured this midsole. And that was pretty much the centerpiece of that shoe, and that shoe was kind of ushering in this new era with this new midsole. And having run in them, and I can say it's great. It's not groundbreaking. It does have a lot of energy return, about as much energy return as I've had from any shoe, but it's not magic. Don't expect this to just be more than anything you've seen before, but do expect it to be as good as anything you've seen before. Even though these are pretty heavy shoes, they don't feel heavy, because this midsole has a lot of bounce to it, a lot of pop. So when you're running forward, it really does kind of encourage you to take that next step. And it kind of helps you spring forward and really keep going and just bound forward on and on. It's a great underfoot feel, both soft and responsive, which is a hard balance to strike, but these do it extremely well. So even though these are heavy, they're pretty quick. So don't think that you can't, and they feel best when you're running at speed. It feels like they just shine even brighter when you're really moving, when you're really cooking. So don't think that you can't move fast in these shoes because of their weight. You can, and you will. One of the bigger complaints I've heard about these shoes, about Levitate shoes in general, the 1, the 2, the 3, is, but who is this shoe for? Because it's too heavy to be, a race day shoe or a tempo shoe or a fast shoe. But it's neutral, and most shoes in its weight class are stability or extra plush, which this is not. I wouldn't say it's the most cushioned shoe. It's one of the better cushionings I've had, but not the most cushion I've seen. So it's not heavily cushioned. It's not a support, motion control, stability shoe. It's a neutral, everyday trainer. And you might be thinking, well, if it's just a neutral trainer, shouldn't it be a little quicker? Shouldn't it be a little lighter? Shouldn't it be a little faster? So who is this shoe for? It's not a big beefy shoe, even though it's got that weight. It's not a fast shoe, even though it's got that feel. So who is it for? And my answer is, it's for everyone. It's just fantastic. It's the shoe that you want to use by default. If you're not using a shoe for any specific purpose, reach for this one for multiple reasons. One, it just feels great. It fits great, runs great. You smile when you wear these. But also, everyday trainers, I think, should be heavy, because if you can get used to running in a shoe that's just a little heavy, imagine how fast you'll be on race day when you put on your speed shoes. Getting used to heavy shoes is good for you. It makes you stronger, it makes you tougher. So weight is not a penalty when it comes to training shoes. In fact, it's a plus. And for that matter, it doesn't feel heavy, so you can still get used to running at a specific pace, because these really move. So just keep in mind, this is not a pickup truck, this is not a limousine, and it's not a Ferrari. This is a muscle car. Overall, what do I like about it? The fit, the ride, the cushion, the tread, just about everything. What do I not like? This seam, and that's about it. There are some people that, if you're looking for a fast shoe, just a fast shoe, this isn't your shoe. If you're looking for a trail runner, this isn't a dedicated trail runner, but it is a fantastic door-to-trail shoe. If you're looking for a support shoe or a motion control shoe, you just shouldn't get this shoe. But if you were going on vacation for a week and you could only bring one pair of running shoes, bring these ones. I would give this about an A-. I only give it an A- because of the kind of weird fit in the heel. Again, I almost feel like you shouldn't take points off, because when you're running, it doesn't matter. You don't even notice. But also because the heel cup comes up a little high and has this seam. If either one of those were not true, it wouldn't be an issue, and this would be an A+, near perfect trainer. If they can get those issues fixed, it is an A+, but right now I'm going to give it, a mid-range A, but absolutely fantastic everyday trainer. Highly recommend it. Go get one.